So what if you're just trying to get a convenience store dinner one night and the cashier just so happens to be a cute girl, but you think nothing of it and go to a park bench to eat. And as you're about to start eating, the same cashier walks up and sits next to you, and the two of you start falling for each other. Well, that's the story of the doujin I have for you today. Let's Talk 480065, called Hiyoko is a Busybody. It's from the artist Maeda Momo. It's a pretty wholesome tomboy tag, so let's get right into it. The doujin starts out with a shot of food and some noises. Very exciting so far. Then it shows a guy checking out and this cashier doing customer service stuff. It then cuts to a park at night with someone thinking it's still early. Then we see the guy sitting down with the most resentful face on him as we get some background on him, like his name being Hotaro Minato, who's never had a girlfriend and works a demanding office job. He's tired from working and thanks God it's Friday and just decides to eat there. He opens it up and wonders how he'll spend his days and if he'll die without achieving much of anything, and he starts crying. But this girl sits next to him and asks if his life is hard enough to make him cry. He's confused and she just kind of stares at him, but he remembers her as the clerk at that store and says that he goes there often. He thinks to himself that she left an impression since she looked cool, and she asks if he's the guy who always goes to the store at night. He goes there almost every day, so it's obvious she would remember him, and it seems like working keeps him busy. He says he's not very good at his job and goes on saying that he doesn't hate it, he just falls short on everything and feels pathetic for it. He then apologizes for talking about his problems, and she asks him flat out if he just wants to go back to her place, which of course confuses him, and so it cuts to her place and he ended up going. She offers him a drink, which he declined, saying he can't handle his alcohol, and thinks she seems tough but is pretty and doesn't know what to talk about. She asks if he's nervous, which he is since he's never been in a girl's room before. So she sets down her drink and starts taking off her jacket, asking if he wants to take a bath. He's stunned as she goes on saying it helps her relax and it's better to soak in the tub and it's quicker for them to just get in together, and so they do it in the bath. It cuts to after and he's wondering if he should expect anything else to happen after, but she says he should stay the night and offers for him to get in bed. He wonders if she's for real, but he gets in and he wonders what this feeling is, but gets excited again and they do it in bed. It cuts to the next morning and there's a shot of more food, but it shows him hungry and her asking if he is. He looks over at her and thinks it's as if nothing happened, but pauses for a bit before crying, saying it's so good, and she comforts him saying he's emotionally drained from working so much. She asks if he has a family, which he says no and that he's an orphan, and she tells him that he can come by again and says that relying on convenience store food will get him sick. She also offers to cook and he says she's already made enough, and she offers to relieve his stress again. It cuts to a subway with him thinking about that girl and what she's up to. That whole thing happened a week ago and he couldn't have been dreaming it, but he gets a notification asking if he's gonna come again today and there's a spare key for him, and it cuts back to her place with him sitting alone. He gets a message from her saying that she'll be home late and he thinks she's impressive for doing all this close to his age, so he lays on her bed and wonders what she thinks of him and that her smell is nice as he dozes off. He wakes up and sees her asking if he slept well, and she gives him that gawk gawk 3000 baby. It cuts to him asking her, Hiyoko, what they are, which makes her disgusted. She gets all serious and asks what that question was, and she asks why she's going through all this for him every week, but she tells him not to worry about it, and he says it's not something he can just ignore since he also kind of wants to touch her, which makes her disgusted again. She says she wants to do stuff like kissing, and it's not like she doesn't want to, but doing all that wouldn't get anywhere with her. But he says that he wants to do all sorts of stuff with her, but gets kicked off and told not to get carried away. They actually do it this time, but in the middle of this he says that he's fallen for her and that's why he wants to kiss her, but they continue after she makes fun of him. In the middle of it again, she starts saying that there was a time someone told her she's boring and not good at conversation, and even during the deed, so she just stayed silent for them. So that's why she thought he wouldn't enjoy doing it with her, and he makes fun of her this time. But he says that she's kind and warm-hearted and that he's come to love her and wants to have a good time with her. She calls him a weirdo and they actually finish this time. They finish up and are on her balcony now, and he asks why him. She says, I don't know, baby, because he looks like a dog. And goes on saying that she doesn't like it when she went anywhere else but that park. But he asks if from now on they'll be dating, and she tells him not to ask about every little thing and that it's childish to ask for permission like that. But she blushes and he asks if she really loves him a lot, and it cuts to afterwards and he realizes that she has men's clothes, and it cuts to another day when we find out they just belong to her grandfather in the hospital, and the doujin ends. Overall, I rate this a 10 out of 10. It's such a good read. I love how throughout the entire thing the two actually end up falling for each other, even if it's kind of slow at first, and it made it so much better because of that. The art style was also really good and I actually love it, but that's just me. I recommend you check it out for yourselves as always. That's all I got. I'll see you in the next one.
Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, these hentai babes makes me drool. Hashime Biku is great. She makes me masturbate. Fairy tale.